Hey everyone, this is Pastor Dane Johansson from Agros Reformed Baptist Church in Mesa, Arizona. Today I wanted to do another Bible review. However, it's a slightly different one. Some of you have seen Pastor Matthew Everhard's crash tests, and I know some other people have also put up crash tests, quote unquote, of different Bibles, wherein they show how they've held up over the years. What I have in front of us right now is a Cambridge Clarion ESV. This is the Cambridge Clarion ESV in goatskin, the black goatskin leather. So I want to start on the outside of the Bible. I got this in, purchased this June 12th of 2012, and I used it till 2018, sometime in 2018. When I switched to the King James. This is my primary Bible for reading, preaching, study, everything. I switched to a couple other Bibles for a little bit of time, but this was pretty much consistently my Bible that I used every single day. I read through this probably 8 or 9 times, cover to cover, as well as some other books multiple times. But I wanted to give an update on how this held up after basically 6 years of constant use. So let's start with the outside. It's goatskin, so it's going to hold up really well. But you do see that there is some wearing after all the years of lugging around. So it's kind of starting to flake there. And there as well. Kind of see some real wear on the edge, as well as on the top, even more so on the top. I do have to add, too, that I took really good care of this Bible. They come in a clamshell box, and basically anywhere I went, I just kept it in the clamshell box. That's where I stored it. That's how I carried it around. So it's mostly just at those corners, specifically the top, where there is any real damage to the cover itself. There's not really any discoloration. Just those couple of places of flaking. There's a little chip there as well on the goatskin. On the back side, just some basic kind of wear and tear that's going to happen with any Bible if you use it. And you can see that the goatskin kind of started to melt over the side, and also there's another chip there. So we can get to focus. There we go. So overall, the cover held up for basically 6 years of constant use. Here's the liner. The liner has a little bit of discoloration here and there. The stitching held up really well. It didn't come undone anywhere. Didn't come unglued anywhere. It's a synthetic liner, but it also held up really well. Where the liner attaches to the book block here with this page, I did have to glue and tape this a few different times. So you can see that it's basically pulling up completely. The only thing it's holding down is that glue. Where these pages came apart, I had to re-tape them. Starting to rip through even. But the stitching held up, so that's all that really matters. Now, continuing on the kind of outside features, you can tell that art gilding kind of started to wear away from my hands with trace, or it's kind of turning brown from fingerprints and stuff. Obviously scratching. The pages in some places are kind of not as smooth or flat as they were. That's just what happens when you read it. From moving the tassels around, the gilding here got kind of chewed up. But again, that's 6 years of use. As for the paper itself, there's no places where it really ripped or anything else. The binding held up. Obviously, I wrote in it with a bunch of different pens. Used Pigma microns and sorts of different stuff. Sorry, it's kind of windy. It's a brisk fall day in Arizona. Only 97 degrees. So right here I'm getting some damage on the pages from just being out here, so I'll try to see if I can move this. But anyway, yeah, you can see that the page edges, it's discoloration and stuff. I actually like the way that looks, if it's from actually using it. I didn't really ever do too much highlighting or anything. I didn't treat this as a wide margin study Bible necessarily. It was just reading and preaching. But there are some places, obviously here in Matthew, and there's random places throughout this Bible that are kind of full of notes, whereas others are not. I use pigment microns. I use Bic. I use all kinds of pens and highlighters. Here's just standard Sharpie highlighters. Anyway, the text itself has held up just fine. Pages have held up good. They didn't rip anywhere. And I was gentle with this. I used it a lot. It's mostly just where the Bible connects that was an issue. You can see on the back liner as well, I had to tape it. Tape it together. I'm starting to rip through as well. Starting to kind of pull away there, though it's still sewn together, so it'd still hold up. I mean, I imagine this Bible would hold up for another, probably 6 or 7 years of use if you were careful with it. But it was a great Bible, and this isn't just speaking to the ESV one. This is for the whole line of Clarions. In fact, once I switched over to King James, I got a King James edition and started to use this. I used this for 3 months. So you can see where I was reading in this Bible as well. So you can see the difference between the goatskin. Here's a good opportunity to do that. Here's where it's kind of worn versus that. It looks brand new versus old. See a little bit of places where I read. But I stopped using this one because after switching to the King James as my main Bible for preaching and reading and teaching, I got used to verse by verse instead of paragraph like I was with the ESV. And so I was preaching one day and I actually skipped an entire verse because of the paragraph layout. So I retired this and haven't used it since. But you can tell the difference there between the gilding, where it's fresh, where it's well used. Okay, it's windy. There's when I was blowing that nice hot air like a blow dryer on the pages. Anyway, I just want to make this brief, kind of meandering thoughts. Sorry about that. But it just wanted to show what a Clarion goatskin looks like after 6 or 6.5 years of pretty much constant usage. And it gets a 5-star rating, other than just some places where it's chewed up. The leather itself, some basic repairs to the binding. You could probably have a bookbinder do better. Like here's a little bit worse on the front cover, but still held together. Other than that, this thing is still kicking. It would probably keep being usable for many years. And they make a full range of translations. I think they do the King James, ESV, NASB, NIV maybe. All right, guys, hopefully that was helpful to see what a Cambridge Clarion in goatskin looks like after 6.5 years of use. God bless you.